And we are live. Mic check 1, 2. Hey, everybody. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, this is an impromptu live stream. My wife and daughter are out of town. So I figured I would jump on and just chat and play some games. I've been playing a lot of RavenIdle this past week, as well as the usual amount of Splinterlands, probably. A few other games, but I figured I'd try something new. So let me know in chat what you've been up to in gaming. There's a lot of things going on this past week that I almost had a hard time figuring out what to actually cover. So we will still be having the usual streams this weekend, Splinterlands on Saturday and Atlas Earth on Sunday. But it's just me and the dog here, so I figured I'd jump on and play some games and just chat. So let me know in chat what you're up to. Otherwise, we're about 6 days, 5 to 6 days into RavenIdle. I've been enjoying myself. I think I will play the first couple seasons and then kind of figure out where if I'm going to continue. It seems like a game that is enjoyable, but it's one of those games that would probably be easy to figure out how to min-max. But it's also pretty pay to win. So I did a couple videos on this. So I don't know exactly how this is going to turn out. I've got a fair amount of people who signed up with my code, and hopefully I'll place pretty well with that. But it'll be interesting to see what the average player can take away from playing the game. It is set up as an idle game, but you can leave it for a certain amount of periods of time during the day and let it do its thing. Like I've got my guy killing foxes here, mainly because I need the hair for tailoring. But it does require a fair amount of attention, and it does require a fair amount of strategy. So I've been enjoying it. Basically, I'm definitely not a min-maxer. I did not jump in. I have not jumped into the monk shop and bought a bunch of monk coins with cash, which you turn around and you spend on things like energy juice, which is basically a booster. It doubles your experience, silver, loot, trade pack speed, and gathering speed. So obviously, if you're going to be a min-maxer, you're going to want this energy juice on at all time. They do give you a fair amount of it to be fair when you're traveling through your battle pass. You can see I'm up to level 27 now, but you can see that at certain intervals, like if you, obviously just like most other games, if you're free, you just get one track. But if you're paid and you actually want to get prizes at the end of the season, then you also get the second track. But you can see here's 3 here, 6 here, so on and so forth. So I'm not going to sit here and say this is enough to keep you in energy juice all the time, but I slap it on there a fair amount of the time. I just haven't jumped in and bought a bunch of it. So has anybody else been playing RavenIdle? Let me know in chat what you think of it. But the other thing I will say in the monk shop is that besides buying the monk coin, which I think makes it fairly pay to win. Well, that's battle pass. Under miscellaneous, you also get the effort potion for 100 monk coins. And the effort is what you need to proceed through the skills. And you could basically buy your way through skilling up as far as doing your trades, gathering, especially crafting, and farming on your land. I know I had some crops. You always try to keep your crops going, but I had some crops going today. What were they? Oh, they were under husbandry. They were some goats, and I wanted to finish them off to get to mark off my battle pass or my daily missions. My new missions popped. it's interesting timing because these missions it just popped 6 minutes ago. So these actually reset. So that would be 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. my time when we went live here. The missions rolled over, but this is very important to keep your eye on. One of them is, here you go, butcher 5 animals, and it's kind of difficult to do in a day because animals take a long time to mature, and then you can butcher them. You can also decide to just like skin them or something like that, like take their fur off of goats and sheep and stuff like that. Or if you've got chickens, you can harvest the eggs and stuff like that. Hey, we have Supreme Victory Studios in the house. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by. Leandro, how's it going? Leandro says, I'm having a blast with RavenIdle. Legacy 49 at the moment. Let's see here. I'm 37. But I want to say that I've kept my guy going all the time. But I haven't been hardcoring it, you know. He's always doing something or other. And I've generally been leveling up my skills kind of across the board, if you know what I mean. Well, let's go up here. It's easier to see under achievements. So like professions, you can see I'm level 4 in blacksmithing, 3 in carpentry, 3. And of course, your mining is going to go up as you blacksmith. Carpentry, wood cutting is going to go up, etc. With carpentry because you need more wood, etc. But I found a nice mixture of like, yeah, I'm making plate armor for what is essence what they call a dark knight. Okay, so I'm protection, shadow, and warfare. And although I don't believe it's the strongest build, I just wanted to try out a one-handed sword with a shield. And this is a whole interesting part of this game because you blacksmith and you make your armor. However, each time you make your armor, it can have different stats. So just for instance, I went ahead and kept this helmet. It came up with vitality because I'm like, every class could use some vitality, right? But previous to that, I rolled a helmet with intelligence on it. I'm like, I'll roll another one. But the nice thing about this game is the fact that if you roll or if you create armor that you can't really choose or can't really use, you can always infuse it into your actual good armor that you do want to keep, so you're not losing the armor. It was never a waste. There's a lot of the games that we've played or I've played over the years, like EverQuest and WoW and all these different clones where you have to skill up in a trade like blacksmithing or whatever it is, and you just have to make tons of piles of junk or stuff. And then you just have to sell it to the vendor because there's so much of it around. People are making so much of it that it's just going for pennies on the auction house, not even worth fooling around with. So I really like the idea in this game where you can infuse your old armor into your new armor. And that also, with the other thing that they have going, are the infusion stones, which monsters drop when you kill them. Here you go. Here's some ancient infusion stones, and there's a couple other ones. But you can use those to infuse into the armor as well and increase the level of the armor. Like most of mine, I have tier 3, all except for my boots. I have to work on my blacksmithing a little bit more. I need like 3 more levels in blacksmithing to be able to make my boots. So it's like you level up, and each tier of armor, you don't get access to make all of them at the same time. So like I was able to make the shield or the sword first and then the shield. I had to level up my woodworking for the shield because shield is under woodworking, and so on and so forth. But I really like the idea because the infusion stones are really I don't want to say it's a piece of money because you can't use it for anything other than increasing the armor level and strength, and all the stats on the armor go up as you increase their level. So you use, say, for you know, for instance, this last one I made was the helmet. So I used like 200 or 300 infusion stones plus my last helmet infused into it to get it up to the ascendant level. And then I'm like, oh man, that's a lot. But that never goes to waste because I make my next tier 4 helmet and I can infuse that in there. And all these infusion stones that I've worked on haven't gone to waste, in other words. So I like that. Joffrey Jones is in the house. 49. He's only 40. Well, I mean, I almost said this isn't a race, but in effect, since it's a competition, it is kind of a race, right? I'm not going to pretend to be the know-it-all guy. In fact, I would think that if you wanted to hardcore it through here and plow through better, you would probably use a two-handed weapon, and you would probably stick all, and this is if you're melee, right? And stick all your points into might. However, I've kind of divided them out a little bit. I do have some points on my armor from dexterity, and I do have some points that I piled into vitality because why not? You know, it makes it harder to kill you, right? So Leandro's killing drakes. I haven't killed any drakes lately. You know what? That's also an interesting thing because I find that there's several different reasons behind why you would pick to fight what monsters, right? The first one I found out is if you need drops, like okay. So I was going to make that shield. Just give you an example. I was going to make that new shield that I'm using, which is a Defender's Bulwark, and in this case, it is a tier 3. And it's got +6 dexterity. I wish it had strength on it, but I'm not going to cry against dexterity because dexterity gives you haste, spell defense, and weapon defense. So it's all good. Either way, my point here is that I needed sea-cured leather. I think I used it all up. And a lot of this leather you make under tailoring, but sea-cured leather is dropped off of pirates. So there's all these different things you may need as drops off of the monsters that you're fighting for not just experience. You need the other things they drop. But I had to fight pirates to get that sea-cured leather to be able to make my shield. So my whole point is it's designed pretty well. And also, obviously, you want the experience off of them. Obviously, some of them are going to be a little bit easier to fight depending upon what kind of weapon you're using. For instance, like skeletons will be a little bit easier to battle if you have a blunt weapon versus a sharp weapon, etc. So I'm just learning, you know. So it's a brand new game. It's very fun to me because it's not a game you have to sit down and primary. In other words, hey, I'm playing this game. I'm also carrying on a conversation with chat, and you guys know I'm not very good at keeping that going because in most of my live streams I don't actively play a game because I like to concentrate on chat. But Joffrey says he's at level 40 with blacksmithing. That's pretty sweet. Let me check where I'm at. I don't think I'm at level 40. Let me see. 34. And to what I was just saying, I just plowed through here and I made my legs last. I still need the boots for this set. But what I've been doing a lot of skilling on are these heavy whetstones, which basically increase your damage. I think you should, there's a lot to be said about keeping a number of things. Like you want to keep a whetstone up, in my opinion, which increases your damage. You want to keep some kind of food buff. I'm just trying to use up this lower level corn on the cob. I've got a bunch of baked potatoes left. My view on that is you want to have a food buff up, and especially if you are a magic using class, you're going to want a drink buff up too for your mana, etc. So it gives it a lot of reason to, and obviously you want to have your health potions and your mana potions if you're a magic using class. So Always keep these loaded up. I'm going to have to load up with these. I made a bunch of whetstones earlier just to primarily skill up and be able to make those pants. But hey, Lady Sharon's in the house. Welcome. And yes, this is RavenIdle. And yes, I know you left a comment on the video yesterday or the day before. I didn't ignore it. I just was waiting to get around to putting it in a video, or we could talk on the weekend about it or something like that. So perfect time. So yeah, we can talk about that today. Okay, I'm going back and playing from the beginning at 1.5 speed. I don't know if you missed a whole lot. I've just been talking about RavenIdle. I just said basically I'm here. Usually I spend a Friday night and I relax, watch a movie with my daughter and my wife or something like that. But they're out of town, so it's just me and the dog. And my dog is not a dog that likes watching movies, so she could care less about what's going on TV. Oh, Joffrey finally got a trophy today. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. Nice. Yeah, that's another thing that is so if you click on a monster and you're thinking about which one to go ahead and start battling for a while, it will tell you if it's got a possibility of dropping a trophy. And over time, I think these trophies are going to mean a lot. You can see the trophies. They're behind my head right now, but when you pull them up, I've got 3 so far. But what they do is they serve as permanent buffs for you, basically. So like this dwarf trophy, I'm getting a plus 4% weapons defense. The pirate trophy, I'm getting plus 2 wisdom and plus 1 might. Percentage, that is, and the troll trophy is plus 4 regeneration. And obviously you'd want to go through and pick out, this is another reason why you would want to look at what would benefit your character the most. In other words, there's some trophies that would give you plus percentage for mana regeneration. It doesn't really affect me a whole lot as a melee character, right? So I would, but if I was a mage, I would want one of those. So I would fight those monsters a lot until I got this trophy. It's one of those things that it's like a legendary drop in Splinterlands, right? It's a very small percentage chance of dropping, but when it does, it's pretty cool. So. Onk12C's in the house. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by. And please, yeah, if you're watching and you like this kind of content, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, as usual. Appreciate it. So, yeah, like I said, the next thing that I am working on is I need to up my blacksmithing to get to these boots, and these boots are level 37 and I'm only 34, so that will require more heavy whetstones, which are stone and coal. So let's go ahead and stop this, because as you can see, he's been fighting morning foxes for quite a while, 3 hours. And you can see when you get to the end of a fight, it'll tell you, you know, this has been going for 3.5 hours or something. And I went and got dinner, ran a few errands and stuff. It'll show you your experience you gained, how long you've been doing it, what potions how many potions you've consumed, how much you earned, how many monsters you killed, and then the random loot. And if you got a trophy, it would also show it here too, and it would be outlined in red. The main thing I was fighting these foxes for is for the spool of hair, because interestingly enough, my weaving is only at level 2, and I was trying to increase it a little bit. Because what happens is it's really about your achievements, okay? Because as you go through, you know, you have the professions, which we're going to weave. What I'm doing is, so I went 5, 10, and then at level 20, I'll get 30 leaderboard points. It's all about going through these achievements and knocking them off and getting your points. That's what it's about. So, and then of course you have a number of things you can do on land: butchering, farming, gathering, husbandry, and you even get a achievement for spending a certain amount of silver and so forth. And just regular playing, like earning silver, equipping. When I finally get that last piece of my boots, then I'll have a full tier 3 set, and then I'll get 40 leaderboard points, etc. But it's really about just looking through here and knocking off these achievements. So let's go ahead, and I need to make, this is just trying to get me towards that level 20. I don't really need weaving. I've had to have a few pieces of cloth in making armor before, but let's go to craftsman cloth. That's what spools up here. So that's enough to make 7. So we'll go ahead and do that. Janice is here. Welcome, Janice. Thanks for dropping by. This is just an impromptu live stream. Just me and the dog here tonight, so I figured I'd jump on for a little while. I was going to play a little RavenIdle, maybe a little Splinterlands later on. Okay, so that didn't really get me a whole lot, but blacksmithing, I'm going to need to go ahead and mine, so we'll just sit that on there. And use an energy juice. Hey, Tails is here. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by. I've been checking out. Tails has been doing content on RavenIdle as well over on his channel. Been checking out those. He's got some strategy going on as far as watch one from yesterday was about trade packs. So my financial journey's in the house. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by as always. Yeah, it's just an impromptu live stream, just chatting about what anybody wants to chat about, general gaming category, you know, and getting a little experience here in RavenIdle, talking about it for a while. Yeah. Oh, you deleted it. As far as Supreme Victory Studios ask about RavenQuest and RavenIdle, so they're meant to go hand in hand. In fact, some of the awards, I won't say a lot, but some of the awards, maybe, I don't know, 25 or 30% of the awards are stuff that goes into actual RavenQuest and helps you out in RavenQuest. So it's almost like they want you to play RavenQuest at night when you get home from work or whenever, and then play RavenIdle idly the rest of the day. Because let's look at the battle pass. You can see as you scroll through, so monk coins, you're going to collect them here in game and use them in game. Fame, the Fame Awards, you can see, well, the energy juice is used here in the game. Fame Awards apply in RavenQuest. In fact, I logged into my RavenQuest account this morning or this afternoon, and they basically, you claim the chests, and then they're extra fame for this week in RavenQuest. So on an ongoing basis, this is a great way. You can just make fame here and then have it apply in RavenQuest as well. So Joffrey says he's trying my fighter for AoE hard fights. I had thought about that, but just been going straight forward. Not a lot of strategy. Let's see. Let's go into builder. I went with primarily shadow and warfare. I did pick up some protection, but I have not been putting a whole lot of points into that. Most of my damage is single versus a single opponent. But back to the battle pass, you can see that. Well, I just scored these yesterday. I got a new title in RavenQuest. I got a new this little picture up here for what it's worth. But once again, more fame, more fame. Like I said, I logged in and collected all those fame chests today. Oh, and then we've got the Raven packs, which obviously are available in game. And they made a special type of Raven pack in game. I'm not going to pull up RavenQuest right now, but yeah, it's a special type of pack. So Tail says it's a kind of tough one though. If you have to down level to effectively AoE to handle the extra damage you take, the XP sacrifice you make doesn't seem to make up for the single target burn. Interesting. I'm just mining rocks right now because I need to make whetstones. That's I want to continually keep my character in whetstones for buffs, but it also seems like along with steel and iron bars, a good way of blacksmithing experience. And also we've talked about this, but you also want to run your dungeon. Oh, my dungeon just reset. I forgot. I had already run it this morning. I've got up to level 19, I think. I think 19, floor 19 is about the highest I've made. I'm really interesting to see what this Dragon's Den is going to be. It's basically a mini game within the larger game of this game, right? So, and it's set from what they say, it's supposed to have its own set of reward pools. So, should be interesting. And of course, in Splinterlands this week, back to lobby, error occurred. We had a lot of stuff going on in Splinterlands this week. We had the Halloween cards come out. Did y'all, if you play Splinterlands, did you get your Halloween skins? I think my favorite one was, I don't know, I can't really say favorite. I like the giraffe. You can see he looks like a Frankenstein now for Halloween. The pickle one was pretty good. I didn't buy the Oridum Greybrow yet. Let's do that. Shop Guild. No, it's not Guild, it's rewards. So I bought some of them. I bought the giraffe, I bought the pickle, I bought the calf, the magician. I don't think I have an aerial shield maiden. I'm not sure. I know I have a Keelan Gaines. I know I don't have, what was it? I guess I had this. Let's go ahead and buy that. But of course, there's a difference between having the card and having it at a high enough level to actually use it when you when you're playing, right? So I do like the Halfling Refugee. And you know what else I got? I opened a chest and I got a Halloween skin for a card I don't even have. Let's go to the market. Let's clear. Let's look at, it was for an Archon. I'm just trying to jog my memory because, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's really no way to see what skins you have unless you have the card. I think they're still working on that. Oh, this would be easier if I just went to legendaries because it is a legendary that I'm lacking. Oh, it's Lorcus. I got the Halloween skin for a Lorcus, but I don't have a Lorcus. And at 35 bucks a pop, I'm not going to just buy it just to see the skin. Joffrey says, I wonder if I should be using a two-handed sword instead of a battle axe then for single target. I don't know if it makes a whole lot of difference. What's the stat? I think what makes the more of the difference is what your primary stat on it is. Let's go to blacksmithing. So let's go over here to like level 3. Here's a great axe. That's level 2. So great axe would have 150% weapon power, weapon damage. So that would be, yeah, that would be AOE. The obviously the battle axe, the two-handed battle axe would be AOE if you wanted to do an AOE build. The great sword increase your 15 weapon power by 15% for 5 rounds. So yeah, single target would be the great sword. Of course, the serpentine blade is also two-handed, and that adds 30% attack power buff for 3 rounds. So you can have 15% weapon power for 5 rounds or 30% for 3 rounds. And I'm using the Lawbreaker sword at level 3 right now. That adds 300% defense, which goes well with my shield. Obviously, it cuts back the amount of damage I'm doing, but it makes me harder to hit, or harder to die, I guess. Supreme Victory Studio says the Splinterlands team is running like a fine oiled machine these days. A lot of stuff coming out and a lot more stuff to come. Yeah, I mean, it seems lately that that they've kind of hit their stride, and you know, we've had a string of several things, you know, come out. Let's see what this was. I've still got my Archmage bot on, so we went in with Archimus the Bear. I got a gold Archimus the Bear for my brother for his birthday. It was the other day, the 9th. Like that. Backed up with Goblin Psychic. Rick Luneman, which I have one, but it's only level 1. And then my Sullic Slip Spawn with Taunt in the back. I'm feeling kind of bad about this, because anytime I see Quora on the other side, I feel kind of bad. Okay, let's just go ahead and see how this battle plays out. And Leandro says, yeah, the weapon skill does make a difference as well. Yeah, and it like what you can pick up on your armor, and obviously your skills. Come on. Quora is so hard to kill. So hard to kill. Especially when she's got a healer right behind her. She heals and she's got a healer right behind her. Sometimes I wonder how the Archmage bots picks what it does pick, you know, because I have those same cards. Oh well. Yeah, so we got that, and then we've got the new reward set getting ready to come out right around the corner, which I went ahead and I don't know if I just went ahead and I bought what I think is going to be my last set of rewards, because I have, let's take the gold foil out of these. I have commons, rares, and epics all maxed out. The ones that I do not have maxed out are my legendaries, and I do have like duplicates of some of the legendaries. So I'm thinking about unlocking a few of these cards and seeing if people want to trade. Like for instance, I need a few more of the Ember Guard. I need a few more of the Sergeant Grazerol. I need a few more of the Cyrinth. And a few more Frigid Wolf. But I've got plenty extras of like the Chieftain and the Jinx and the Gibbon and stuff like that. So, and if worse comes to worse, nobody wants to trade, then I can just like stick them on the auction house. But the thing is, these are fairly expensive to unlock, so I've got to be kind of strategic with it. So I might be, talking to people behind the scenes. I only do this with people that I have a good trust process with, that we've known how well you can know anybody across the internet, right? That they've been members of the community for a while. But that is that. And I've also been noting of note this week, there's been attacks on the Hive Engine, right? Don't tell me we're down again. Guess what? We're down again. I don't know what the status of this is, but a few days ago, it's been going on for the last week. And for those of you who don't know, you can use tribal decks in Hive Engine, same thing, to transfer your tokens back and forth. So say, for instance, you have some SPS in Splinterlands and you want a little bit of DEC, you can send it over to tribal decks or Hive Engine and you can convert it into DEC. I've made a few different videos on how to, convert tokens and stuff like this. But the problem is that this last week, apparently, Hive Engine has been under attack. It's been under it's more like a network type attack where they're bombarding it with so many processes and so many connections that it just it overloads it. Can't think of the better term for it. So distributed denial of service attack is what we're talking about. So go back here. It's like I said, this is not like RavenQuest where you're going to have to sit here and drive your guy around and fight and cast spells and stuff like that. But you can sit here and, like my guy's still mining, So it's kind of boring to just sit there and watch. But like I said, it's an idle game. This is the first idle game I've come across that is under the play to earn kind of category. So that also makes it interesting. Joffrey says they should be resetting the glint shop when they drop the new cards. Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know. To take that argument out one step, I think that it would have been better if they put the new cards in with the new season. Okay. But looking at it from their point of view, they want you to use your glint up as much as possible. So they're giving you a lot of options, but they're saying at least they warned you, because I put it in my last video this last week. At least they warned us. And what he's talking about is that the new set of rewards is going to drop this coming week, right? But that puts it right in the middle of the present season, which started at the beginning of this week, right? Like I said, let's go to the reward shop. As you can see, like I said, I bought one batch of legendaries. Actually, I bought a batch of legendaries on this account, and I bought a batch of legendaries on my secondary account, and I got the exact same skin for that Archon. So, interestingly enough, but the overall point is, like, I bought a batch of ultimate chests here, and I'm at level 2, which props the price up. And that's not going to reset next week when the new card sets go live, right? Or the new card set goes live. So you're going to have, a lot of, you've got more choices now for what to save your glint for, right? Something that will also leave are these gold foil rarity draws, okay? You will no longer be able to get those in the new set. I find the new set, the gold foils in the new set are going to be a lot rarer than what they currently are, which to me, as a guy who tries to play gold foil in my guild brawls, it's going to make a lot harder because there's going to be far fewer gold foils. I guess their idea was to try to make the reward gold foils a lot rarer so that the price is higher. I don't know. It's just going to make it's going to affect several different things, but I think one of the main things it's going to be is people are going to find it harder to fill those gold foil brawls, which are already really hard to fill for guilds, right? VT Mac Guru's in the house. Thanks for dropping by. Says drops have been buggy all week. Yeah, well, excuse me. One of the things I wanted to mention, my whole reasoning behind talking about this problem with tribal decks is, if you see problems like this, don't try to commit tokens to trade around. I mean, unless, because I'm not saying that there's always a small chance you could lose something, but more than likely it will just be held back until it comes back up, and then everything that is in line, all these different transactions are in line. They get built. It's like a line that keeps getting longer and longer and longer until it comes back up, and then can work its way through all these different transactions. You might, if you tried to send, if I tried to send SPS, like once in a while, I'll send some SPS over here. What I've been doing lately is buying SPS on the base network, bring it into the game, and then staking some of it, but sending some over to tribal decks and trading it into DEC, so that, and then put it back in the game so I have some DEC to use on my land, etc. Right? But I'm not about to go sending out much no tokens unless I can see that the tribal decks, the Hive Engine stays up for an hour or something like that. I'm not going to trust sending out a transaction. And I know people are like, oh, that's not Splinterlands. Well, guess what? Splinterlands is built on it, as far as interacting with buying, selling, trading tokens and stuff. So the problems, the attack on, and I understand what the attacks are, but I don't have an answer for it. I'm just saying it's significant, and I'm surprised more people aren't talking about it. Of course, I don't sit on Discord much. I'll pop into Discord once in a while during the day just to see what everybody's talking about. But that was a big topic with me this week. Lady Sharon says, well, I just caught up and my parents' pet sitter showed up. You were keeping your cats for your parents. Oh, I don't have cats. I have a dog. I'm a dog person. Tail says, curious what Dragon's Den will bring from a gameplay perspective. And Season 2 in RavenIdle should bring new strategy around fishing and alchemy. Yeah, I was waiting to see what the deal with fishing and alchemy were. So they are both coming soon. I would imagine they're both very similar to what they would be in game and the way the others have been implemented. As far as Dragon's Den, I consider that is probably going to, they've got it listed as a whole other mini game. In other words, if they had it up here next to dungeons, I could see that being implemented. Wow, somebody in a very loud car just went by. Sound like they had glass packs on. Either that or they have very bad timing in their car. But what I was going to say is it seems to be separated off by itself. It's going to be its whole other completely separated game. I don't have any facts on it, but except for the fact that they did say it's going to have its own rewards pool. So we'll just have to wait and see. Tail says hard to argue with their initial success. 117,000 is very strong for web. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, it's way over 100,000 now. I mean, my video last week it was like at 80,000. Um, uh, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. What will they change between season one and season two? For season one, obviously they wanted to go big or go home, right? They had to go big with a splash. They put all of the profit for the battle pass, for the premium battle pass, all that profit is going into the pool, as well as the people, any money people spend in the monk shop is going into the pools also. So my question is, when season two starts, what changes? Do they go and they say, okay, only half of the battle pass is going into the pool? You know, you get my idea. They wanted to make a splash with the game. They've gotten people into it, and it's going to be interesting to see what people actually take away from the game. I know you did a video early, it was yesterday, about what people can expect on averages, and I'm not even going to try to guess, but also remember that the value you're getting out of the game can be not just quest token. Quest token is the actual token you can take and you can sell it and make real money off of it, so to speak. But they also give you value. Like they're going to consider if at the end of the season they give you 5 Raven packs or something, those are worth how many ever dollars a pack they are. So the value you get off of the game, whatever you get, is not going to be 100% quest token, right? So. And my main point is what changes between season one and season two, right? Obviously, they're going to continue to build out the game. Like you said, have the gladiator arena, have the fishing and herbalism, as well as alchemy, as well as a dragon den and whatever else they have to put into the game. If anybody's wondering, let's see where I'm sitting on the referral board. I am level 13. My character is named Rolam. And interestingly enough, if you want a little bit of history, that was off of an EverQuest warrior I had way back in the day. And his first name was Rolam, and his last name was In Chocolate. I was a pastry chef at the time, so... but it's kind of one of those names that's stuck with me over the years. So if you see a Rolam in a game, it's probably me. Let's go back to mining. I've mined 69. After that, I need to go to iron ore because you need to mine iron ore to get coal, which I also need. G Foster 22's in the house. Welcome. Says, between Atlas, Splinterlands, and RavenIdle, what one would you say is your favorite, and are they worth it? Well, that's tough because they're all completely different games. I'm a kind of guy that I'm a kind of guy that likes to play different games and not just hardcore one game. I always played with people that were much different. In other words, they got into a game like EverQuest or World of Warcraft. They played one class and they played that really well all the time, all the way to the top. They didn't multi-character and they didn't play different games. That was their game. They hardcored it. And I was always, kind of jealous of those people because I could never be one of those people. Well, my point is that I like a variety of games, and I think they each fill their own niche. For instance, like Atlas Earth is a fun game. It's more strategy, and it's more the type of quote-unquote fun that I see of, it takes different type of personality. It's a type of game which builds over time. It represents, an investment of time. And as you go along, what you're earning off of it gradually goes up. And like, you start off with the game and you're just making cents on a week, or whatever. And it's hard to see where that can go. Now, after a year and a half, I'm making almost $50 a month. And it just extrapolates out past that. But the fun or the enjoyment I'm getting off of it is the strategy behind increasing my rent and seeing it going up over time, as well as taking over different mayorships and things. It's all strategy. Whereas this game is kind of fun for some of the same reasons. The whole basics behind, it's seeing numbers go up, right? It's in the basics behind your achievements are, professions. Level up your blacksmithing, level up your carpentry. You see all these different levels go up, and you earn money for however you place on the leaderboard. Oh, and also, Tails, this is the other thing I was thinking about. In season 1, everybody who bought a battle pass will get some share of the overall prize pool, right? Obviously, the people that are higher on the ladder will get more. But the way they phrased it was like, going forward, that might not be the case. Going forward, there might just be a leaderboard of top 100 make prizes or whatever, So there's a lot of variables here that could change between season 1 and season 2. And this would heavily affect my feeling on playing the game going forward. So, and also going back to G. Foster's thing, playing Splinterlands, I gather enjoyment out of this from the same kind of idea behind playing, Magic the Gathering, a little bit different. I've always been really a collector, a heart collecting cards, collecting comic books and things of this nature. That kind of idea. I think they just each fill a different gaming type thing. So I think it's really hard to compare which one's my favorite. Presently, I'm really enjoying RavenIdle, but like I said, I've been mentioning a bunch of these different variables that could change and completely. One of the things whenever I talk about games, and I don't like to use the word review, but I like to get on and do a video and talk about the game to give you some idea in case you're thinking about playing the game. But I try to be balanced as I can, and give trade-offs. And that doesn't make me the most popular YouTuber, because I don't want to get on a video and sound like I'm selling a used car or something like that. Usually I only make videos about games that I'm currently playing, so yeah, it's a lot to say. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this month progresses, how high I can get. But instead of just like hardcore going through like one skill and raising it up, I've just been kind of leveling each one up a level at a time. I still need to. I still don't have enough money. It seems like. I need to upgrade my land, but to upgrade my land, I need 250,000 silver. Now, I watched Tails put out a video a couple days ago about doing trade packs. But here's the deal. Every time I farm something, I use that to make food for my character. So it's kind of like you're in this situation. Do I farm and use that for my trade packs, which is a thing that RavenQuest brought about, right? You can put together these different packs and then send them on a journey, and then you make a bunch of silver off of it, right? So, but each of the packs requires something different. So, like this one is going to be the next one I send out. It's called a basic rations, and you can see that I have apples and I have wheat, but I needed some corn, so that's why I've got corn growing on my land here. So it's a very fine line. You have to keep your land growing something, and you have to have a strategy behind it. and not just throwing stuff up there just to make make your farming skill go up, because what you grow here is heavily dependent upon what trade packs you're going to send out, as well as what food you want to make for your character, because your food is very important there for giving yourself different buffs. So I need to increase my cooking. I did get it over the 20 level, but I need to work on 30. Sharon says, now I'm really behind. We'll listen in the car while on the way home. Still hope for some sort of storyline in Raven. Well, that's one part of your question. There's no storyline in RavenIdle. Now, RavenQuest, yeah, that's RavenQuest is you're going to have a lot of this same stuff in RavenQuest, but it's more of a top-down, old-school MMO feel. It's got some storylines going on in it. You've got different quests and stuff like that. So if you want storyline, RavenIdle is not going to be it. Hey, Pharaoh Silver dropped in the house. How's it going, Pharaoh Silver? Good to see you. Leandro says they should make skills from Warfare and spend mana as any other talent tree. It's kind of overpowered at the moment. I can talk. I don't know. Let's see here. I do know that my guy uses mana for certain things, and I'm assuming that some of the powers require it, even though they're not specifically spells. So, okay, so let's take this. So one of my powers is Death Blossom, which falls under Shadow. That does require 10% mana cost. That does not. Berserk does not. And Shadow Strike requires 2%. So a lot of these powers, maybe not a lot. It looks, you know what? It looks like powers under Shadow, a lot of these powers require mana, whereas the powers under Warfare do not. So I probably would benefit with a little bit of mana regen. But that's another variable that goes in with when you're deciding in which order you want your skills to go in, because you can design you can trade them around however you want. But each power still has a cooldown period, and then secondly, especially mana heavy. I guess if you just went in and just went, does protection? Yeah, a lot of the protections have mana costs. But if you just went all Warfare, you wouldn't even have to worry about mana, right? But that's always been the case in games. I mean, if you're a warrior, you just don't have to worry about mana, So, but there's a lot less you can do. Tails agrees with that the Warfare is overpowered. Yeah, I'm sure they're looking at the numbers on the back end and seeing what's working, what's not working. They sort of shoved me. Whenever I created this character, it's just kind of shoved me into Warfare. And I'm like, okay. I had kind of wanted this kind of build anyway. During the alpha, or during the beta, I went with more of a rogue build where I was wearing leather armor and a sword in one hand and a dagger in another hand. That worked pretty well as well. So I think for a long time, and I'm not sure if it's still true, but for a long time, Shadow was pretty overpowered in RavenQuest. Tails says, I doubt a $70,000 prize infusion happens again. This is not sustainable. I agree. But it's a fine line, because they want to, as a business, to get people to actually subscribe, which is $12 a month. And while I'm on this, let me make this statement, and then I'll kind of take a side branch here. To get the $12 a month, you're going to have to give people more than $12 of value, right? They have to see more than $12 of value, whether that's a prize coming to them or something else at the end of the season. Otherwise, people just won't subscribe. That's basic logic, right? So G. Foster says, what's the difference between RavenQuest and RavenIdle? Well, first came RavenQuest. Actually, it was called something else Quest first, and they ran it for a year. Then it became RavenQuest, which was the first game was not Web3, and then they made RavenQuest, which is a standalone game. It's very much like a old school MMO, think Ultima Online, that kind of thing. But it is Web3. It has cards that are involved. You collect your cards, level them up, etc. You have one nice thing I like about RavenQuest, I thought was really cool, is the fact that if you get a top rarity card, like they have think black foil in Splinterlands, right? If it's really rare, they actually send you one out that's in a hard case. I've always liked that. But it's a top-down MMO, and it's been out for a while. And RavenIdle is made by the same team, or probably a subset of the team, where they took the things out of the game, such as how the characters look. Like this is exactly how the characters look. All the different types of monsters, the different types of food you can grow, all the different skills and stuff like that. All those come from RavenQuest. So they didn't really have to develop anything new as far as what they did. But what they did was they packaged all those game items and everything that goes into the game in a different manner. So instead of, they fashioned it into an idle game, which does not require me to sit here and walk my guy around and fight a wolf over here, or go into a dungeon and work my way down 3 levels to get to a certain spawn, that kind of thing, right? And quests and everything like that. And it's a cool game. It just requires a lot of time and effort, and I don't have as much of that time and effort to put into it. So I do play it from time to time, and a lot of cool things are going on with that game. But this is a much more laid back. Like I can set my guy or set my character. He's doing stuff. You know, he's also growing something on the farm. He's over here gathering, mining. And I can do other things. I can work over here on my computer and do other things. I can play another game. I can host a live stream and talk to people, you know, etc. So 2 games made with the same kind of items and core material, but just packaged completely different. So Supreme Victory Studios, probably already out of the house, but thanks for dropping by as I take a while to get around to people's comments. Leander says, as a warrior, you don't need to worry about mana, but you have to worry about rage or some other stuff. Needing no resource to use skills is the overpower. Yeah, I agree. As like I said earlier. But I guess the trade-off is that I guess they're figuring that, let's go back to Builder, that some of these other powers, even though they do require mana, hopefully make your character stronger. I don't know. I haven't tried like a single build out, you know, like go all warfare, you know. Lady Sharon says, oh, funny, you got to my other comment just as I pulled into my garage. Well, now it's like about 16 minutes behind. Oh, we've just been talking about a lot of stuff, mostly RavenIdle and Splinterlands. We've got Splinterlands on the live stream tomorrow, so. Okay, let's take and let's leave that. I got 28,000 experience towards mining. Let's go ahead and go into, I need iron ore. Well, I really need the coal is what I need for the stones. Sharon says, anyway, oh, thanks. Jay Long with the super chat. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. J-Long 8986 says, started Atlas Earth this week and used your referral code. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks. I appreciate the tips and tricks guides on your channel. Well, appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the game. Just so you know, we have a live stream on Sunday at noon Eastern time. That's straight Atlas Earth. We talk Atlas Earth for an hour to an hour and a half, and it's all, strategy, talking about what's going on. I haven't been doing a lot of videos this last week because, one, I'm in savings mode. I just hit the top of the 3 times tier in Atlas Earth, and even though there's not what we would call a tier jump into 2 times, there is still, excuse me, I'm drinking a soda and I had to burp. There is still a jump ahead as far as jumping to break even. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, just, check out a few of my other videos. It's all strategy, but that will be my last jump. But the takeaway there is I have to save for 225 parcels, which I'm more than halfway saved, but I haven't really, I've been in savings mode. I did complete my, yesterday, or maybe it was earlier today, I just completed the the ladder, the challenge ladder for this month. So we can all talk about that on Sunday if you want. But thanks for dropping by, and definitely thanks for the super chat. A lot has been going on YouTube that's making it tougher on YouTubers to actually make any money off of their content. So I definitely appreciate super chats and members of the channel. So going back to Sharon's chat, says, anyway, like you, I'm not entirely sure if it's my cup of tea, but I do want to, she's talking about RavenIdle. I do want to try it. My big decision would be what type of character. If I can't play an elf, then I am leaning more towards playing. No, it's not like you pick your classes. I think it's all human characters. So basically, when you start, and you're not backed into any corner, you can, in this game, one of the other things I like about this game is if you get a combination of classes going and you don't really like where it's headed, then you can back out of one class and select another. Like I said, under builder. So when you first start in the game, you'll get one class, and then after I think it's around level 10 or something like that, you pick up your second class, and by level 15 you pick up your third class. So you have a number of different classes: witchcraft, spiritual, holy, wizardry, protection, shadow, archery, and warfare. And you can pick, you end up with 3 at any one time, and you can switch around and level them up as you see fit. And until you find 3 that works well for you. So I like this combination because the shadow has a little bit of damage as far as speed goes. Warfare is just straight damage, doesn't require any mana like we were talking about it. And protection will seem to, I liked it because I picked up a heal, So now warfare does have, I guess, brutal strike gives you a heal, and I'm not sure if one of the other ones give you a heal, but I always like to have a little bit of healing going on my rotation. It just helps you go through less potions, and but it does require mana, right? So, but yeah, there's no race on this. You just have to pick out your class. If everybody's enjoying this, please leave a like. Appreciate it. Lady Sharon says, a version of myself, but I would want to do more non-combat stuff. Well, I think it's theoretically you could play the game and just do your trade. I don't even think you could do your trade skills without fighting mobs. But the thing is this is built as an idle game. So I'm mining right now, but whenever I get ready to go to bed, I will find a monster I want to fight. Let's see here. I've been trying to get this skeleton trophy. The trophy gives you +4 max health, +4% max health. And since that's a percentage on all these trophies, as you level up and you build better and better armor and your armor's leveled up, that percentage goes up. So it rises with you as you go up. But my point is that I would pick this monster to fight. You just click battle and load up like your food and your whetstones and potions or whatever, and just go on to bed. You turn your computer off, turn your iPad off, or whatever you're playing it on. You don't have to leave it on for this to happen. And then you get up in the morning and you can take it off, see what kind of loot you've gotten, sell your loot to the merchant, the loot that's just like drops for money, and then go ahead and say, start your gathering for like mining stone or something like that. But my point is, you would have to fight these monsters to be able to get the trophies. Plus, a lot of the monsters drop stuff you actually need to manufacture, like your different armor. Like I was talking about earlier, I had to fight pirates to get this sea-cured leather to build a shield. So. Hey, Ann's in the house. Welcome, Ann. Ann says, oh boy, caught the bug, and I'm working to become mayor in my area for the first time. Thanks for the content. Oh, nice. Oh, as far as Atlas Earth goes? Yeah, I think that's the main strategy component in Atlas Earth at the end of the game. Because, like I said, I'm getting ready to jump into the 2 times tier, and at the same time I'll be taking over my 5th mayorship. Now a lot of times with the mayorships, the more expensive they are, the more you're probably going to make off of them. The ones that require very low amounts of land parcels to become mayor, you might not see a lot of badges sold, but it is what it is. That's what towards the end of the game, you start accruing parcels. You've got a large amount of parcels. You've got to start looking at your strategy on, okay, where do I want to put down my next block of parcels so I can take this over? You look at in your main neighborhood whether you're going to be able to take them over if the person is active. When you do take them over and you make that move, you're going to want to have a cushion. So you don't want to just take over by 1. You might want to take over by 10 or 20, something like that, if you can save up, because then they really have to decide, do I want to come back and spend that extra Atlas bucks to retake it? So either way, it's part of the I don't want to say end game, but in the later game, that's part of the strategy of the game. So okay, so let's go back to blacksmithing. Nope, not blacksmithing, mining. So yeah, I'm just doing iron ore because I do have to get more coal. It's just a constant process, and what will end up happening is people are obviously making different progress, different decisions on how to progress through the game, whether they want to do a lot of trade skilling or whether they just want to leave their character on fighting all the time. But I would argue that you almost have to do a leveled approach, because even if you just left your character on fighting monsters all the time, you would eventually outlevel the monsters you could fight without making better armor and weapons and stuff like that. It's a progressive thing, so. And since I have a new set of daily missions, I need to start looking at these. One nice thing is that if you want to, you do have 1 reroll. So maybe you like all of them except for 1, do all of them except for that 1, then do your daily reroll and then work on it. So before I go to bed, I probably have to put some animals on my land, but I still got 3 hours before I can harvest my corn. I don't think I'm going to be up again. But once again, this is where the effort comes into play. So, you know, if I wanted to actually spend money, I could go in the monk shop and I could buy effort potions and power through. Although 100 monk coins for 1,000 effort, 1,000 effort wouldn't get me too far. Like I said, if I just wanted to complete this one corn for 3 hours, it would be 400 effort. So that 1,000 effort would only get me like two of them completed, right? And I only got 4,500 effort. So they'll just have to wait till tomorrow, I guess. Have to work on the animals tomorrow, but I should be able to. Let me think about this for a minute. I should probably stop working on whetstones and work on heavy logs. So to get a heavy log, I need to do an oak tree. Okay. So we'll leave this for right now and start doing wood cutting. But you can see it's just a constant decision process, and the one limiting factor is your time, right? Or the time, you know, the character can only be doing something 24 hours a day. So that's where increasingly these energy juices come into play. But thanks for dropping by and chatting on a Friday night. I do appreciate it. You can see I play a lot of games on the Hive blockchain, which is what the blockchain that Splinterlands is on. I got defeated. I got a lot of energy because I bought a bunch of those chests, and if you buy chests, you get a fair amount of energy in that. But I'm still playing D-Crops, which is a farming game on which I'm glad I checked that out because I need to harvest my cauliflower on Hive. I've really liked Hive over the years because you can trade your tokens back and forth, like I said, on tribal decks. D-Crops is a game about farming, basically. Well, thanks everybody. It seems like the chat has died down a little bit, but I appreciate everybody's time. Once again, I will say that we have a Splinterlands live stream tomorrow at 11:30 Eastern Time, and then on Sunday we have Atlas Earth at noon Eastern Time. So I hope everyone has a good evening or wherever you happen to be in the fine world. I'm just going to go ahead and sign off tonight. And whoever wants to talk Splinterlands, I will talk to you tomorrow. Otherwise, thanks for dropping by. As always, I hope everyone on your side is happy and healthy. And hey, I'll see you in whatever game we play together. All right?